up or something, you can let me know, and then I'll just edit that out or whatever. And that's just something I'd tell,
for sure.
Tell everybody that gets started on here, just so that they feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
Cool.
And then pretty relaxed on here. I mean, if you listen to the show, like we don't.
Yeah, man, I like it. It's funny. Yeah, I like the stories, man. It makes me think about a lot of the stuff that we would go through, you know, with my brothers growing up.
What's up, everybody?
How are you guys doing?
This is episode 93 of CharroBeans podcast, a Mariachi podcast where we talk about mariachi and stuff. If you've been with us this long, you know that we've always tried our best to bring you the hard-hitting stories. No, I'm just kidding. No, like I don't know. You know how like podcasts start like that? You know, like I don't know. Like sometimes I have to kind of give myself a little intro to hype myself up. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you've been here this long, you know that we always try here to talk about ourselves, but also at the same time
the best content. You know,
the best. Yeah. But also we haven't had a guest here in a long time. Not for the lack of trying sometimes, but it's just the fact that, you know, sometimes to get around to it and stuff like that, it's rough. You know, we're just a couple of guys here in Fort Worth, so. But we've always tried to bring guests on here because I think at the end of the day, it also benefits you guys to stop hearing us talk for a second and then talk to someone else that maybe, you know, at the same time knows a lot more than us, and, you know,
get to know them,
right? So today specifically, we have a guest who I would think is widely known. I think he is someone that I've seen for a long time.
You've definitely seen him around.
Like. Yeah. And it was funny because just the other day, you know, 10 years ago.
The other day, 10 years ago.
No, I meant like 10 years ago, I got the notification like on Facebook Memories, and it was at us when we went to Northside. We went to Cielito Lindo in
Nationals. For Nationals.
Yeah.
That was like 2000...
I took a picture with our next guest.
Oh, bro?
Yeah, and I saved it because I was like, this was literally yesterday.
I might have had one too.
Yeah, and so anyway, before, you know, we get into everything, this is Robert López of Mariachi Vargas at Tecalitlán.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, man. I'm a fan. I like watching you guys, man. I love the stories.
Yeah, like
brings me back to my, you know, the gigs. Well, I mean, I still do gigs, and I still like have. Like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the idea behind it, you know, because like when we kind of started this, that was kind of the idea, like talk about it the same way you would talk about it with like your friends and stuff when you get together, you know. And
yeah.
It's been good because I mean everybody kind of relates to it because like we all go through the same stuff, but it's also different, you know. So everybody's got a different experience regardless of what it is.
Yeah, man, that's right.
But like I said, we thought of bringing you on because, like I said, you are very well known. You've played with a lot of different people, and I think that you represent a lot of what it means to be a Mexican American in this culture. You know, was dominantly coming from Mexico. You know, I mean, this is where it came from and stuff like that. But you've kind of lived like that life, and now you're playing with, you know, Mariachi Vargas. You know, so I thought it'd be a really great opportunity for us to talk with you about that experience. So I mean, I just want everybody to know that, you know, we want to talk to you and kind of want to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
And kind of see how you got started in, you know, this whole mariachi environment. You know what I mean? It's wild. It really is wild.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you, man. I mean, I appreciate that. And well, yeah, I mean, it does bring me back, you know, like it's growing up with my brothers and always doing the gigs and with my dad and stuff. So, I mean, it's definitely, you know, it's been a lot of changes that I've been through, you know.
Yeah.
So like your whole family
here to LA. What was that?
It's like your whole family, like musicians?
It's just, well, yeah, it's my two brothers and one sister that also are musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm guessing your dad too, like.
Yeah, well, my dad, you know, he had his own group, and yeah, he got us into it when we were really, really small.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so it's a family
we
thing.
did all that. We did the cantinas, we did the backyards, everything. You know, that was our whole life. Like
When did you start playing or like gigging, I guess?
Oh, I started going to gigs when I was 7 years old. Like I had just turned
Oh,
7 years old. Yeah,
how was
man.
that?
So that's I learned everything as I went along. You know, you learn so many
Mhm.
songs,
Oh
and you
yeah.
just go through so much. You know, it's insane.
7 years. That's
But you can remember
Yeah.
being
really
7 years
young.
old, like in people's backyards.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah. Then later
Dang.
on, you know, my other brother came in, and I kind of had to show him the ropes a little bit, and then the other
Oh
brother came
wow.
in. So it was
Dang.
like yeah, I wasn't the little small one anymore.
Yeah, a
Oh,
little
wow.
bit. Is your sister younger or older than you?
She's younger. She's the youngest.
Also, you were the oldest at the time, so
No,
like,
I'm actually the middle, but
oh,
I
okay.
started first.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then I'm guessing the older later
And
on
then the
kind of.
oldest started, and then the little one, the younger one, started
Yeah,
after that.
that's pretty
That's
funny. I
cool.
can imagine like like being 7, 8 years old and like telling another kid like like como le
Yeah.
hacemos, you know?
It's like, dude, I remember. Yeah, I remember when I first started.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, first time, just
Yeah,
kind of
first
looking at
time,
him.
First time, yeah. Yeah, man.
That's cool, man. Like, cause I know,
Yeah.
I know for sure a lot of mariachis start out that way, being a family thing. You know, like people always ask me that, like, hey, were your parents mariachis and stuff like
Yeah.
that? And I've never had the opportunity to say like, yeah, they were mariachis
Yeah.
and everything. But so many people that I've met, you know, it's a family thing where like they grew up in that
Yeah.
culture of like straight up mariachi and stuff like that, and it's been something they've done like their whole life. I think me and you we started like in middle school, so
Right.
it's like half our life.
We're like teenagers. So.
Yeah, so that's when we started, you know. So we weren't brought up like as in that charro environment.
I think it wasn't until the first time I went to Albuquerque, when I had
Oh,
just
okay.
first joined over here in 05,
Uh-huh.
that I actually saw that there are other kids that do it, but they, you know, like that, like they actually get to do it they actually get to do mariachi with their friends in
Yeah.
school, you know. So it's a thing. Where we grew up, there was no programs, there was no other kids that did it. It was literally just us.
Yeah.
So like the stories, you know, all that stuff you guys talk about, I have those stories
Mm-hmm. Oh,
uh,
there you go.
with my siblings, with my brothers. You know, we get to remember those stories,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, where were you growing up at this time then?
We're from the Bay Area, from
Okay.
Oakland. We grew up in Oakland,
Oh, so
Hayward, and then we moved to like Modesto,
yeah.
and then from there I lived there until I was 20, and then that's when I moved to LA.
LA. Is that where you're at right
Yeah.
now? I know
Yeah, that's where I live.
I mentioned to you, I thought you were in Mexico because you know
Yeah.
you play with Vargas.
Yeah, a lot of people think that. Yeah.
Yeah, because how, like, I guess we'll just go into that a little bit. So when was the year that you officially joined Vargas? I feel like it's been a couple years, right?
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
It started 2018. It was
2018.
right as they were going to begin the tour, the Luis Miguel tour.
Oh
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
right.
they needed a new person, and then something happened where a few of the people that were in line to come in, they just, for some reason, they either bailed or they couldn't do it. So they
Right.
needed to think of somebody. So I guess that's when they kind
Your
of
name
brought me
came
up.
up.
So yeah, and it was perfect because it was like at a moment where I was looking for a change, you know. So it just came perfectly. Like it was like luck, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
And has that always been like, I feel like a lot of people, it's like a thing that you think about, like, was that like a dream of yours of maybe playing with Mariachi Vargas one day, or maybe going up the
I mean,
major leagues
definitely,
like
you know,
that?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you think about it like damn, if I've made it this far, you know, it would be great if I could just make it a little further, you know, like if I would just be, but you know, you never really think like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. It's like it just, and then all of a sudden it just happens. You're like, what the, you know, and back then, at that moment, I was actually working at Internacional in Pancho Villas.
Yeah, right.
And that's when they started talking about the new album, the new Luis Miguel album came out, and it's, you know, the Vargas, and they're going to do a tour, you know. And I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, if they don't take me on that tour, I'm going to be really pissed. Like I just really thought about that. Damn, I really want to go.
Yeah.
It was weird.
So how did that come about? Like,
it just kind of came together.
They just called you up and said, hey, like, you know, Mariachi Vargas is looking. Yeah. So how did that kind of come about? Like, the whole joining Vargas thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, I had recently been working with Jonathan in Mariachi Los Camperos.
Right. Yeah.
So we would so then he got into Vargas, and we would still kind of keep in touch.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he would hit me up and, you know, like, hey dude, well, you know, hopefully, you know, we could get you in here one day or something like that. You know, we would just random talks like that. And I guess when they needed a new person, I don't know if he brought me up or I don't know how it really came up, but then they just called me and you know, it was him and Carlos, and they just called me one Sunday, and by the next weekend I was already over there.
Wow.
Yeah, just ask you like, can you make it, or like?
They just said like, you know what, we need somebody now because we're already, you know, they're starting the tour and they need everybody's name so they can make your badge and they get everything, they can put you on the tour. So we need this, like, would you be able to make it here maybe possibly next weekend? Right. You know, we have rehearsals. They were starting the rehearsals. Right. So they needed me to go and you know, be there for that. Yeah. So I was able to go over there.
Because it basically sounds like when like a guy calls you up out of the blue, like for a chamba, you know, like, but it's
except
like
it's for like
exactly,
Luis Miguel,
yeah.
But it's for like
like,
Luis Miguel, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like the
And I'm guessing I had to learn like all those arreglos I had made for him, no?
Yeah. That's what we worked on that weekend. Just I mean, obviously it was a few days, but yeah, we had all the music, just went over all the songs that were gonna be on the tour. And extra songs, you know, because you never know. You say, well, you never know what days he's gonna want different songs, so we kind of have to know, have them all pretty much kind of ready. So yeah, that took a couple of days, the rehearsals, and then from there we went and did a couple of promo videos and just started doing little gigs. Yeah, and then I came back.
Did it ever feel like, whoa, like this is going really really fast? Because like, I mean, last week I was here in LA, and now this week absolutely. I'm like, yeah,
oh yeah, it's insane. It's just. You just jump right into it. They had 2 suits ready for me in one day. Like they had, I don't know. It was crazy.
Like made for you, like
yeah.
They were like send your measurements and everything.
Yeah. I went to get measured one day. And then those suits were ready the next evening.
I'm gonna need that Sastre's number, dude.
I know. I know, man.
I mean, they be taking months, dude. Just to get a traje, it's almost like a drug
for like a black traje, like no gala, like like 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, really? Like, damn, all right, cool. Like, what kind of woven are you getting that it's that, like, you know, rare? And I know Vargas' trajes, you know, they're pretty they're pretty legit.
Those blue ones are really nice.
They really pop, you know, from the. I mean, we get it from a audience perspective, you know. So like, when you see them, you know, on stage, you know, they look legit, you know.
Yeah, they're simple. They're simple. Yeah, but there's something about them that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've always kind of liked that it's very. I mean, I guess you could throw that out there, like traditional, but not, you know, like and
almost like uniform. They're like they're all the same kind of.
Not a lot going on, but enough to where it's like, man, those are solid.
I think it's that silver. I think it's like the botonadura that kind of gives it their personality. But
I think if anything, it just makes me feel bad about my own gala. Because it's not shiny anymore, you know.
Like rocks.
Yeah, and Victor's always giving me shit because he's like, it looks like piedras. Like, I'm like, wait, okay, wait. Yeah,
man. It's a lot of maintenance.
No, for sure. So once you got into Vargas a little bit, you since 2018, so I mean, you're going on 4 years since then.
I'm going, yeah.
Wow. And then I know that I kind of asked you this before, but I know that you've been with Sol de Mexico. And you've been with Camperos before, and so throughout. Careful. That's why I don't like those AirPods specifically.
Yeah, man.
Because they always.
I never use them. This is literally like the only time I've used them.
Yeah, I returned mine because of that. Like I would stick them in, and then I would take one step, and then boom, it fell. So then
I like mine.
Yeah. You must have a good ear.
Right.
Like, yeah, mine aren't made for them.
Yeah, I fall asleep on the plane and then I wake up and they're not there.
They're on the ground.
You look up to like the conversation.
Yeah. The next person. Yeah, he was listening to CharroBeans and he's like, keep us up. No, but that's cool. Like I was saying, yeah. So I know that you've been in these other groups before. So this is that's why I'm saying that I feel like everybody at least has seen you around. Like even if they don't know your name, I feel like they're like, you know, I've seen this guy before, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and it's also in the way that you sing, because like I told you at the Vargas concert, apparently my wife, you know, has a thing for you, and I was like, since when? I was like, since when did this come around? You know, like I haven't been told this, you know, is what I told her. And she's like, no, like yeah, like I remember because you used to be in Soda, and I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm like, Avisa, you know, like,
right?
Avisa.
You're like, I would have left you home if
Yeah.
this was a thing, you know, like
I wanted to come to this concert. Yeah. No, but it was cool because it like you can kind of see how you're kind of like climbing the ranks a little bit. So it's pretty cool, you know. And then so you're saying that you still kind of gig around since now that you're in LA still. So how do you balance the whole thing with, you know, being in Vargas and then also like gigging, you know, at home?
Well, at first, it was different because we would have a lot of gigs with Vargas, so
Yeah.
it was kind of hard to be, you know, like I wasn't looking to be gigging out here.
Right.
But now, you know, we've had different like seasons where it gets a little slow, or we'll just do weekends,
Yeah.
or there'll be weeks where we don't have anything. So I always like I enjoy, you know, going out and doing like chambas here and there,
Yeah.
or yeah.
And it's that's what I was gonna say, because I mean, like, I feel like once you're in like that top group, is it almost like you got used to just being on stage, or is it very much different than going out, you know, like, you know, going to someone's backyard, going to someone's party? I mean, I know it's a big difference, but it's like, can you miss one more than the other, or it's like you got used to one specific way of
Well, I think because
performing?
I grew up doing the backyard stuff and you
Yeah.
know, like doing that chamba, like to me, it's always going to be a part of me. So I do
Yeah.
enjoy it. I do like going out there, and I do like brushing up on those old songs, and you know, like it's fun.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun, and you get to hang out with people that you don't usually get to hang out with. So
Yeah.
it's always something I enjoy. Um, Obviously, like I also enjoy traveling and being
Going
on
to
the stages and
places.
stuff, you
Yeah.
know. But so it's kind of a cool balance right now.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, because I mean, like I said, like you get to kind of experience both sides. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you get to do both, and it's consistently getting you like, you know, that itch to scratch. You know, like you get on stage, but
yeah.
you also get that chamba side.
you're like living your best life, man. Like you're
Yeah.
doing both, you know,
You
like
know?
that's pretty cool, you
Yeah.
know,
That's
like
funny.
you're like
That's what my girl tells me.
Yeah. I'm like, you're
Exactly
living
oh
her
your
yeah,
best life.
words.
that's cool. Like you're doing like, oh, I'm doing like 15, and then like next week's like, oh, pues voy con Luis Miguel, you know, as
Well,
even
Yeah.
casual, like, you know,
yeah.
like
Just throw that in there
that's
real
how it
quick.
is,
Yeah.
you know, like
And then like right now that I know you guys just recently went to Canada, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when I was seeing the pictures y todo, like where they were like in the mountains and shit, and I was like, nah, pues ni in Fort Worth, where aquí no hay nada, güey. Everything's flat, you know, like, you know, but that's pretty cool. Like you get to experience like I think that's always like the coolest thing I think I see in like mariachis and stuff. It's for me, like I always see the fact that they get to travel. You guys get to travel to like these
Yeah.
cool places that, I mean, you're going there almost to like experience the location, but at the same time, like you're getting different audiences from like everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, for example, like when you guys went to Canada, what's the like difference between like an American audience and then like a Canadian audience? Because honestly, I've never been to Canada.
You know what? It wasn't that different. Everything seemed really similar to me. Like everything
Really?
about over there, you know, except that they use a lot of French where the areas
Right.
that we went to.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was the crowd actually was there was a lot of Hispanics.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
There
yeah,
were a
like
lot of Hispanics out there.
wow.
Yeah. So it didn't seem like different to me.
Yeah, because
It
it's
felt like we were just in another state or something. It didn't.
yeah, it's
It
like
was yeah.
fairly north, you know, like so it's like how'd you
Yeah.
get this far, you know, like for Mexicans
Yeah.
exactly. Like how'd you get this far, you know, like
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
but I
No, they
mean,
love it. Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool to kind of experience that. Great.
Yeah.
So what's something that I guess you could say about like being in the Vargas environment that like kind of like surprised you? I guess you could say you're like, wow, now that I'm in the major leagues.
You know what? I'm it's gonna sound kind of weird, but I'm surprised at how cool it was. Like how cool everybody was, and how
Really?
like welcoming and friendly it's been,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
Because you know, I heard the old stories and stuff, how it used to be a little, I don't know, they have, you know, there's always different stories out there. It was
Right.
a little hostile, or it was a little
Mhm.
like little groups, you know.
Yeah.
But no, it's been like a just a group of friends. It's been really cool, and they
Oh,
really like me. They really respect me.
yeah.
So
That's
that's
really
probably
great.
been one of the cooler things.
You enjoy the fact that everybody in there is kind of like cool and stuff like that, right? So,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
know,
it's a really cool vibe.
I know for sure right now too. There's a lot of new members. I always kind of tell Victor this, but like, there was a time where I was like 100% in mariachi. You know, like, listening to it like every day. I feel
Yeah.
like you kind of grow up like that. Well, I did, like I said, our families weren't really mariachis, so we got into it, in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And like it became like your life, you listen to recordings and you practice y todo. So I was on that for like a really long time. So I
Yeah.
knew every person in the group. I knew every person that was in Nuevo Tecalitlán, every person that was in Sol,
Yeah.
and I kind of kept up with that. And little by little, I was in college and all of that kind of passes by. So
Yeah.
when you see Vargas now, it's very different from like the one I saw, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I know that there's been a little bit of a shakeup in the lineup a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
There have been a few changes recently.
right.
And I mean, recently, like in the past, what, 5-6 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one day I think I looked at, when they put up like posters or pictures, I'm like,
Mhm.
dang, like, or a lot of these people were in Nuevo before or something like that,
Yeah.
or in Sol before, and you kind of see that they've been coming up little by little. So I was
Yeah.
like, it's kind of like, it's different to see that. But
It's a
like
new
when
generation type thing. Yeah.
yeah, and they count it like that, right? It's like primera generación, segunda y tercera.
They do. Yeah.
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 So is this technically like another generation of that? Is that
Yeah.
official already?
Yeah. It's the sixth.
Sixth. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think what's really cool about Vargas in general is that like when you hear them on stage, it almost like sounds like the same but always different. Like, so they always have like a specific sound, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you kind of get
Yeah.
that as an audience member, which is pretty cool. You can still see
That's
that
cool.
even though there's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
lineup changes.
We've talked about that before too. How it's weird how sometimes we don't even try or practice to try to play a certain way. It's just
Right.
it just kind of happens. Like if it just we'll practice stuff and
Yeah.
I'll even record it on my phone because I'm like, why does it sound like that? Like it sounds like Vargas. It sounds
Yeah.
it's something about like the little laziness. I don't know, the little violins. I don't know,
Yeah.
something about it.
Yeah.
It's
just,
like this old sound.
yeah. And that's what
Yeah.
gives it the vibe, and that's what makes it so different,
Yeah.
I think, than a lot of groups. Like I feel like anytime you hear like a specific group, I feel like sometimes you get like a specific sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you listen to
Yeah.
Caperos or Solo.
Even if you have different people, even if there's been, like you said, a little shake up, little,
yeah,
they changed it up.
right. So right now that you're doing like the whole kind of dual gigging, going back and forth and stuff like that,
Yeah.
what's kind of like what you do in LA right now, like as someone that lives there and gigs there? What's like your schedule right now?
Well, yeah, I just live out here. I have a kid, and I try to see him as much as I can.
Right. And
So yeah,
yeah, sorry, I don't know if you were gonna keep going on there.
no, yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, so you are you trying to get him into the whole playing aspect, or is that something you kind of like
Well,
let them?
he plays plays a little bit of trumpet for school, but he hasn't really jumped on the mariachi thing. I don't know. I don't know if he might be interested in doing that later,
Right.
or if because if I'm not here, I can't really be on him, that much.
Right. Exactly. And because I mean, you said that it was a family thing. Does everybody else in your family still play?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
They do. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
wow.
my oldest brother, he lives in Nevada, so he's not really full-time musician, but he still plays a little bit
Mhm.
here and there.
That's cool.
Okay. But I'm guessing your dad still doesn't have the group anymore that they used to, I guess, right?
No, yeah, he retired, and he still likes to go to little gigs here and there, but yeah,
Right.
he's not full-time.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like after a while, I feel like in general in mariachi, it's kind of hard to retire. Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
see a lot of guys here that are, 60, 70 years old, and they're still going out there to play at gigs and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, man.
it's something that they still do. Not so much. Sometimes I think that it's money wise. Sometimes they just want to go out there and play. Because
Yeah.
si se te va,
Yeah.
like after a while, like I feel like if you're not playing or anything, like you lose it a little bit. You kind of, the next time you pick it up, it's a little bit different. It's not as
Yeah.
easy, But it's that's definitely something that I've noticed as well.
Do you start on violin, or do you play like other instruments first?
I play violin, and I used to play a little bit of like bass and vihuela, but I haven't really kept up with that.
And you always started on violin then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had some time, I guess, to like kind of
Yeah, man. Long time.
Long time. Would you
Yeah.
say that it was a difficult process to get into as you were 7 years old or whatever?
You know what? I don't think it was difficult. I think it I don't remember it being difficult. You know, it was something that it was kind of came natural a little bit. Like it was easy for me to learn the
Right.
basics that, you know, when my dad was teaching me.
Mhm.
And then once I started going to like a teacher and learning more technique and stuff, it got pretty difficult.
Right. Because now you got to make it like sound good, you know, like that's
Yeah, you
I
know,
think with anything,
yeah, I think
that's what it is.
the more you know, the more, you know, you could learn. It gets really hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was like the first, I guess, big group that you were in?
So the first group, it was Sol.
It was Sol?
Sol?
Like before
right
Sol,
off the
I
bat?
had only worked with my dad.
Oh wow.
So how did that come about?
So he just saw you and he's like, all right, you come with me. Like,
No, actually one time we came out here. I had a little road trip with my brothers, and we came out here, and I had wanted to like come and audition for them, but I didn't really want to do it when my dad was here. Kind of felt bad, like he's gonna feel like betrayed or something.
Yeah, going behind his back.
So I said, you know what, let's do this, and once I'm there, you know, I'll have a chance to like to try out.
Right.
So yeah, we did that. We came out here and we went to watch them, and I kind of asked if I could like speak to them, meet them, say hi, whatever. And then, you know, then they started asking me questions, you know, like, oh, I said, well, I'm from up north, and you know, my dad has a group, and then they were like, all right, grab the violin.
Oh,
so
right
I,
there.
you know, I
You're
didn't
like,
really ask.
hold up, wait.
They were just like, all right, I guess you want to try out, right? So,
Right.
you know, and then so they invited me to sing a song with them on stage, and then I got to practice in the back. They kind of tested me a little bit, like,
Right.
all right, now we're gonna jump to this string, and you're gonna have to follow me, you know. So I did a couple little things like that. So then yeah, they took down my information.
Right.
And they, you know, they said, well, we know if there's a they showed me a whole like book of like names and numbers that they had from people that had wanted to join.
Oh, wow.
But they said, well, you know, since you're local, you know, you could, and you're young and everything, like you know, you're kind of making it kind of to the top of the list.
Right.
So
how old
so
were you?
yeah, but it took about close to a year, I think, around a year.
Right.
Until I like actually got the call.
Right. And at this point, how old were you? Like you were gigging with your parents' group or with your dad's group?
I was 19 when I
Wow.
auditioned, and then when they called, I was already 20.
Yeah.
I had just turned 20.
Wow. And it was also just like hey, so we got it's kind of like Vargas, like, hey, we got work on Friday if you want to come.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Friday,
I was they called me on a Friday night. I was over there on Saturday to I had to do another audition with Jose.
Oh, so that first day that you did it wasn't
the first one wasn't with him.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Yeah, it was with his brother and some of the other guys there.
Oh, okay.
So once they recommended me, he was like, well, call him up, tell him I want to see him. And I was over there the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like first interview and second interview.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's just like
a
job.
Yeah.
And then it's like getting like the CEO on the second meeting, like right away. Like, okay.
He's like, why should we hire you? Like, you're hiring, bro. Like, you know.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, but no, it was actually it's funny, but yeah, it was actually really quick like that as well.
Yeah.
I was working by the next week.
Wow.
Well, how long were you in Sol? Because I mean, when I like think of you, not like that, but like when I see you, like I see you, like I think of Sol, you know, because I've seen you in that in like those album covers.
I was there. Yeah. I was there my whole 20s. I was there for 10 years.
Oh wow. Shit. Was it that long? Yeah. Well, like I said, I was into Mariachi for so long that like there was a cutoff. So after that, it was like I kind of like stopped looking into it.
Yeah, it's true. Because I mean, I kind of went through the same thing. Because I saw you with Sol, and then out of nowhere you were in Camperos. So like, that's cool, you know. And then you know, fast forward a little bit, and now it's Vargas. So you're like, okay, hold up, like, like
man,
going fast.
You just collected all of them, like, ¿quién sigue, you know?
Thanos, just like, So what was that like? So Jose just kind of said like, toca el violín, or how did that go? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, come to the back. We'll, you know, we'll talk. And then he said, yeah, here, take your violin and play something for us. So I forgot. I played a few like little guapangos and like whatever for them.
yeah.
All right, that's cool. Then he said, so you're good with you know, with like the reading, and you're good with like changing strings, changing chords.
Right.
Like, yeah. He's like, okay. And then he said, well, let's hear you sing, you know? And so then I sang a song, and then he asked me, can you sing this song in this key? So, you know, just did a couple of songs for him, and then he's like, all right. And I think because I was young, I was super confident. Like, I thought it was just easy. Like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
And then he gets everybody, he got all the guys, and he goes, okay, well, we're going to talk for a minute. So they all went into the office, and I just waited outside, and I don't know. I don't remember feeling nervous. I just, you know, then they come out, and he's like, well, les gustaste, so, you know, welcome.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
cool.
that's the way it went down.
Yeah.
So it was like a democracy, like they all had to get together, and they're like, yeah, he has.
I guess, yeah. I guess I don't remember doing that when other people would audition and I was there. But yeah, I don't know why that was the way he did it that time.
It's funny that you say that you weren't really that nervous, because like I kind of feel the same way sometimes too. Like when someone tells you to play or something like that, like you kind of know your capabilities, but I think I'm not necessarily like nervous about that. I'm more nervous about the fact that like I have to like somehow prove it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the only thing that kind of like makes me nervous. Like, I you're putting me on the spot a little bit, but like as far as like, I mean, you're saying you were confident, so like that's good, because I think that's the thing that like gets us for like audition processes and stuff like that. Because there's people that like really, I know like in general, like college for college mariachis and stuff like that, we get questions asked on the podcast, like you know, what's that like? What's that audition process? I mean, and then right now that we went to Albuquerque for the conference, you know, they do the whole master's class thing, and they have a whole audition process and stuff like that. Like people get nervous. I mean, you know,
I think it was definitely helpful that I was young and naive, you know.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even think that there was a chance that they wouldn't take me. I just was like, oh yeah, they're gonna love me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think that, or I didn't think that somebody was gonna have anything negative to say. You know, it was just I was just young. I had this innocence. So you know, later on you kind of see it differently, like, oh man, damn.
Yeah, like
you know, people start to worry about certain things like that.
Right. Okay. So in your time with Soul, I mean, you guys got to do a lot and stuff like that.
I mean, it had to be a big change from like being in your dad's group, and then
because I remember, definitely like.
I remember Jose saying like they played it like in France, or like they played for like Lady Gaga, right? He said stories about like having to do like extraordinary gigs, you know?
Yeah, we did. Different stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you ever do something? What's something that maybe you remember that you did with Soul that was like, I guess like a big deal? You were like, oh wow, like we're doing this, like it's crazy.
Well, I mean, definitely. Like one time I got to record for this movie, and that was cool. You know, to kind of be behind the scenes of that and kind of be a part of it. It was kind of fun. You know, well, we got to be on a scene in a movie, and then also we got to record for a different movie, like. So a few little like mariachi parts, like little music stuff, but yeah, it was that was interesting.
Yeah, there's opportunities that you kind of got with Soul, right? It's because I know Jose kind of has his hand in trying to do a lot of like things like that, you know.
Was it that Chihuahua movie? Well, was that one of them?
No, that wasn't. I didn't get to do that one. It was a different one. It was, I forgot what it was called. Damn. It wasn't very popular. It was but it was by the same musical score guy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't really remember the name though.
The name of the movie.
I remember seeing Chewy and be like, hey, yo, like like in this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like a Chihuahua movie. I forgot the.
Yeah, they did those. They did. I think they did 2 of those.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So like, well, I guess what was the whole kind of like how Victor said, like with your dad was if it was more of like a chambeando kind of group. Like, I mean, you obviously know how to read music and you had the talent and stuff like that. So how does that translate into like soul, where everything's very technical, everything's written by Jose, and
I think more than anything for me, the change was like sort of, oh man, it was like back home, I was kind of one of the better ones,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm here and I'm new, and it was like I had so much to learn about everything, and sometimes when you're the new guy, sometimes they could be kind of on you a little bit, they kind of a little mean or a little,
No,
so
yeah, that's everywhere.
So that was sort of my little shock when I first got here was that I used to be kind of like that punk. I used to be kind of the one that to be on everybody, to kind of kind of not bully, but I would kind of
well, you were like the leader, tough. No, like
a little bit, yeah. It's kind of like I was a little tough with some of the people. So then all of a sudden I felt like, oh man, this is how I am sometimes to other people.
Yeah, right.
So that part was kind of like damn, like
eye-opening.
I called everybody that week, and I was like, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that if I was tough on you, man. I'm sorry, man. I know how it feels now.
Yeah.
How did your dad take it? Like,
oh yeah,
being like,
yeah. How did your dad take that?
He was happy for me. Obviously, like he's not gonna. If he was sad or if there was anything, he doesn't really show it a lot. He was just like, hey, well, do what you got to do.
It's an opportunity.
If this is what you want to do, you go out there and
I mean, you're in Vargas
have fun
now,
and
so
enjoy it.
He's like very proud of you,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool because
I'm sure he wouldn't say it all the time, but I'm pretty sure he was proud.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Like I mean, with Mexican parents in general, I don't think you ever hear that. Like, I'm proud of you. Or,
it's not like, very. They're not very.
They're just like that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
like
it's just part of life. Like, oh yeah, like you're and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. No, yeah, exactly. But it's just cool because you kind of got to go from that gigging to like straight professional. Because I feel like that's the thing that we would like. Me and you, for example, would lack. Because I tell this guy all the time, like when we get music, like for us,
we would definitely struggle.
We could read, right? Todo, but it's been so long that you get rhythms. For example, like when I went to Albuquerque, just reading music again, I'm like, damn, like people do this. Like they read music. It's not just like learning
what?
a song on your own.
Reading has always been a struggle as well. I mean, like when I got there, it was like I'd done it with my teacher, and it was like, but I never had to read for mariachi. It just wasn't something that we did. So all of a sudden, they're bringing out all this music. So I had to kind of use a lot of my memorizing skills for a lot of it,
for sure.
Just because sometimes you don't want to get lost, or you're not as fast as everyone else. Right. So sometimes I would just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna follow them. I'm just gonna record them and just try to. All I need to do is learn this music. It doesn't matter how I learn it, but I'm gonna learn this music.
Right.
So it was definitely like a process. Sometimes I was okay. I'm gonna read this.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's for like a struggle for me, or even my sister. She talked about it when she was on the podcast. She said that when she was in middle school, high school, like she had good technical skills. Like she played así con estilo y todo, and then she got to college and she realized that she wasn't the greatest reader. She said she didn't really start reading like music así where she could get a sheet of paper and be like, okay, like sight read it así nomás. Like it took her until she got to college, until she was like, dang, like, it's almost because, I mean, not to say mariachi is like you don't need it, but it's more like because a lot of it comes from the feeling or just going out there and doing it.
Yeah,
that's how a lot of us end up learning. As far as I know for sure, like when we started gigging and going to gigs outside, a lot of what he learned was like in the field. You could say like we kind of told you to start. We didn't give you music that much often, and you just kind of had to learn it. That's what I did too on Vihuela, and it's difficult, because it's like not everything is written, so you kind of have to like come up with it, and then someone gives you a sheet of paper, and it's like, whoa. And that's why it's important to do both. I think it's really important to do both.
I think
people train themselves.
Yeah,
they train themselves. Like if you're in a group that you always picking everything up by ear, then that's what you're gonna be good at. So when they throw the music, the sheet music at you, it's like, oh damn, I usually learn everything by ear.
Or
even like, like in this particular group, they read a lot, almost every week he shows up with the new score. Hey guys, look, vamos a poner esto. Ahí les va.
Right.
It's a 7-page song, like, damn.
Yeah.
So, but when you're used to doing it all the time, you're kind of on it, you're practicing constantly. So your reading it gets a little sharp, it's really good. But yeah, it's not always the case. Some places, it's a different, they have a different method of learning stuff.
Right. Cool.
So how was like the transition? Because I'm guessing from playing in soul you went on to like camperos, right? Or was there like something in between?
Was that the progression?
Yeah.
So
no, it was literally like, it was just about a month after later that I started.
Like you were just was it like with Vargas, like you were looking for a change, or you were just tired?
No, that was, I mean, yeah, it was we kind of, I guess he kind of felt that I was a little burned out. I was kind of I guess I just needed a change,
Yeah.
And so did he. So we, it kind of had a little falling out or whatever.
Okay.
So I had to go, but I felt like it was the right thing. I mean, it was the wrong way, but it was the right thing.
Okay.
And then from there, I started getting, the word spreads really fast. Like when something like that happens. So like literally the next morning, I'm getting like messages and calls from other groups inviting me, and I didn't want to. I said, you know what, I don't want to be a part of another group right now. I just want to freelance and just take a break. I'm tired of being stuck in one place for such a long time.
Right.
So then they started, some of the guys started inviting me to come with camperos to go to the rehearsals.
Right.
And I wasn't, at first, I wasn't, I was still kind of sticking to my whole, I need a break thing.
Right.
But then they basically were like, you know what, there's this person and this person and this person have been invited, and they're down to come, but they're not local, so if part of you is interested, you should probably get on it now, or else someone else is going to take the spot.
Right.
So then I went to the rehearsal, and then a couple weeks later I started going to gigs with them, going to like shows with them and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah.
And I know that they I always see them. Well, I don't know how it was then, but on Facebook I see that they do also like performances like at places like almost like they gig together too, right? Like I've also seen that they have like a system and everything. It reminds us of like us a little bit, like with the mics and everything. Did you ever experience that too, or was it mostly just like the
what, like the gigs, or?
Yeah, like from what I see, like on Facebook, every once in a while they'll have like videos where they're like in someone's party or
yeah.
So
like, we would do, definitely, we would do the quinceañeras and the weddings and the funerals and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, like because it's cool because like they gig together as well. I mean, I don't know how it was in Sol, but like does Sol gig as well?
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
they do. But when Sol gigs, they're more they do it kind of in a smaller group. It's sometimes it'll be we would do something where it would be the whole group, but it's kind of rare. You mostly just go like 6 or 7 or 8 guys, and then you're just kind of playing like simple stuff. You don't really do the whole show. With camperos, they'll go the whole group. They do the whole everything. They play all the good stuff. It's like the whole thing, the legit thing.
It's like it's a whole show. It just happens to be in this person's backyard. Yeah.
Do you feel you had like more pressure with camperos? Because with Solo Mexico, Jose was a trumpet player, right? And he was a director.
Right.
But with camperos, you're like in the same section as the director. Did that feel like you had more pressure? Because I feel like
it was actually, I felt like I had more confidence.
Oh yeah.
They would make me feel really, really good about playing, and they're just like something about their style, their vibe is like just makes you feel really comfortable, and you just feel powerful. So it was, that was a cool experience for me. It made me sort of feel like I could expand a little more on my playing.
Yeah.
Like they were letting me play first, and it just like, wow, it was more freedom. It felt good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is with working with camperos?
Yeah.
With camperos, yeah. working along with Chewy, right? With Chewy's man.
Yeah.
Which we keep slacking on inviting him on here. We told him if he could come on, and he said yeah, but it's been hard.
Yeah.
But hopefully one day. Hopefully one day we get him on here. But yeah, so it's pretty cool that like these are like the top groups. I guess you could say that a lot of us like
like in middle school or high school for us, like they always gave us like the big four, like which were like Sol de Mexico, Camperos, Cobre, and Vargas.
And the Nuevo kind of like
at the time
I got really into them like towards the end of my high school, you know.
But I guess because like they were like in the US, like I mean
Vargas, but they started working like a lot over here.
Camperos, yeah, but like
they're from over there, so that's what I'm saying. But I mean, oh hey, my wife just showed up.
Just come on in,
just come on in, and she's bringing Whataburger for us, so that's good. Anyway, so so you kind of got to see that different experience of like what it's like to be in Sol, what it's like to Camperos, and now that you're like in Vargas, it kind of gives you a completely different. So can you like honestly say that each one had its very different? I mean, you can hear it. The musical style is different. So like each one has that. Like you as actually being a musician in there, like what can you say about each one's musical direction and how they all differently feel?
Oh man, it's different. It's different, but there's a lot of similarities as well.
Right.
I mean, it just, geez, like, I mean, with one, like with Sol, it's definitely very technical, and there's a lot of reading, and it's just a lot of little tiny details that go into everything, you know. So it's like a lot of little moving parts that make out the beautiful sound that they have.
Right.
It's just, so much. And then with Camperos, there's less that goes into it, but it's just so much quality in the sound and in the and in each musician that just makes this you could play a simple style and make it sound like just huge and amazing.
Right.
It's just, but it's a different style of directing, but it's still, but the level, it's still up there. Everything is still like, just, it's hard to explain, but it's just a really high level, and Vargas, it's even more simple, like as far as the style and the directing and everything. And it's just like the stuff we grew up on, the stuff that we played growing up, like that's the same music. But just now that you're just playing it with these people and they all know how to do everything perfectly, and it just sounds how it's supposed to sound.
Right. No, it's really good because I mean, like I'm saying it more because like you got that experience, or you're getting that experience right now with going through all of them, and I know a lot of, for someone that like you that comes from like the Bay Area, someone that comes from the United States, and I guess you could say like creado, here, you grew up here, so I know for sure a lot of students and a lot of people that are learning right now, sometimes like right now that they're learning and everything, like they start learning about all these groups in the same way that we did, and that like almost becomes like your goal one day, like, oh yeah, one day I want to be in Vargas, one day I want to be in Sol.
It's gonna be a big thing, like for like because I think, I don't know about Jonathan, but I think you're like one of the first like Mexican Americans that go from from the United States to working with Vargas, because they usually have people that are from there,
from Mexico.
Yeah, that's something that I also would know, that I also knew when I was younger, that they won't take anybody who isn't from Mexico,
Right, exactly.
Oh man, that was a bummer when I heard that. I was like, shit, then what now?
No way.
But then it's cool that this door's been open, not only that, but like there was another thing, I don't know if you guys heard, that you had to live over there, like you had to live in Mexico City.
Right. And that's why I asked
like
you, because I was like,
that's also surprised.
Like you get to kind of live wherever you want to live now, and it's just it's definitely a big door that's been opened, and it's really exciting for
like, so you could say that Vargas is getting like more progressive as it's going.
Oh, definitely. Oh yeah.
Something like
absolutely.
That. Because I think we've said it before on this podcast a lot of times, but just the level of talent that is coming from this side as well is pretty crazy to see. I mean, ponle que not every single one of them is going to Vargas, obviously, because I mean you're the first one, you know, but I think it does open up a door a little bit, because it's like, you know, there are musicians on this side of the border as well, you know, that are
Oh yeah, man,
very
it's insane.
capable.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Like, for example, you played with a lot of musicians, obviously, throughout like your lifetime now, that you played in all these groups, and even and even these guys that aren't even in these top groups, right? What we say, like the top groups. Who, I guess, who can you say that you've played with that just kind of surprised you as a musician when you got to play with them? And it could be,
I mean, I don't, I mean, you know, it's just like something I've noticed since I first moved out here is that there's this thing about like the Mexican Americans,
right,
that there's this flexibility and like the versatility, you know, of being able to perform. Like it's just it's like a lot of these people are just able to do anything you give them,
right,
you know, like play it this way, play it classically, play it this, you know, this style, and they could do it. Or even singing, you know, like you could sing it more ranchero style, or you could sing it a little more pop style, or you could do, you know, and that's what I noticed with a lot of the people from here, is that they're able to just kind of switch it on like crazy.
Like that.
Yeah.
And what,
you know, you don't, I mean, not to criticize anyone else, you know, but I haven't seen that much with other people, you know, also because maybe I haven't really looked for it as much, but I'm definitely like it's there's so much talent out here. It's insane.
No, there's so many times that there's been where like sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm pretty good, and then you see like a video of a dude online or something, and you're like, damn, like I suck, like you know. I think you always have those feelings no matter what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's always gonna be
someone that sings just as good or even better, or plays just as good, you know. But I mean, I think what I like too, and I've said it before on this pod, but it's usually like when there's a level of support, like when you're saying that you came into Vargas as like the new guy, and one of the things that surprised you was, you know, how welcoming they were to you, especially like knowing that, you know, you live in LA, you know, you're not living in Mexico like these guys, you know. And then a lot of these guys are old. I mean, not as many as they used to be, but these guys are older. You know, these are older guys. You know, older guys have like
and they have this,
they're like set in their ways
mentality, right? And
yeah,
just
exactly.
a different different style that they grew up with, or that they lived with.
It's a different generation, you know what I mean? Like like we get that, you know, playing with some of the guys here, you know, some of the guys that we play with, they talk about their days, you know, when they were in Mexico, you know, what it was like to, now they're working with like 20-year-olds, you know, and these guys are like, you know, 50, 60 years old, you know, so it's a big gap, you know, but it's like, it's wild to see like these dudes been gigging longer than I've been alive, you know, and then here I come, you know, todo mequillo, you know, like hola, you know, you know.
And they accepted me just like one of their own, you know, like, okay, welcome, you're one of us now, you know. So that was definitely amazing.
That's cool. And I mean, it must have been scary. Like you hear all these stories.
Yeah, especially
if
you're hearing things.
I mean, it was cool because a few of the guys in the group were people that I had already worked with before, you know.
Right.
We played together either in Sol, you know, or so so I did feel a little bit of support there. Like when I came in, okay, I'm like, at least I know people.
At least you know somebody.
A couple guys here that they got my back.
Yeah. Okay. That's good, man. I'm glad that you know, with the group of something like Vargas, and you're enjoying it, and it honestly looks fun. Like when I went to the concert, I told this guy to go, but he didn't go. But when I was at the concert, you know, I think of the last time I had seen Mariachi Vargas was like years ago. I don't even remember when it was. So like watching them again, you know, after so many years, and then also with a different lineup and everything. But like at the end of the day, it's still Vargas, you know, and it has that sound in it. The guys that come up to sing and everything, it all overall still has like the same type of vibe, and that's why we talked about it on here. That like it's just what the sound that comes from them, you know, and it's sixth generation, you know, and you get to be a part of that. Man. So that's super cool. As far as doing the whole travel thing, you know, to Mexico and going to, you guys do rehearsals as well, right?
Yeah. Not all the time, but we'll get together. Sometimes he'll put it together when we have, like, say we have a couple gigs in Guadalajara, so we'll be there for a few days. He'll set it up to where, you know, we'll have a couple days off and we could get together and rehearse.
That's cool. So when you're not when you're not doing mariachi, do you have any hobbies, like in general, or like things you do other than music?
I haven't really been getting into as many things lately as I would like to, but I like to draw. I like to so I definitely want to get more into that. Yeah.
I say that because like I think a lot of us, like, we do music a lot, but we also like try to have lives outside of the mariachi world, because I think for sure, like me, like I like doing something a little bit different every once in a while, not necessarily because I get bored.
It's important.
But just to kind of like get outside of it a little bit, just to kind of like, so you're not in it 100% all the time. You kind of get tunnel vision like that sometimes. I think you just get focused on that one thing or whatever. That's why I just brought that up, because you're wearing like an A's hat, so I don't know if you went to like if you go to watch baseball.
When they're in town, I definitely like to go catch the games.
Over there in Oakland,
in Oakland or out here in LA.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, you're in LA, right? Exactly. Oh, that's really cool. Oh yeah, going back to that question I asked you, so is there anybody that you specifically had played with that you're like surprised by, like when you finally met them or started playing with them, like of how as far as their musician level,
or maybe just like enjoyed playing with,
like
not that like you have bad experiences, but just like you meet someone and you're like, damn, they're really cool to play with, or like
someone on that,
I'm sure I've met so many people.
I'm
just trying to remember somebody right now. Somebody specifically. But there's so many. It happens. I mean, here there's so many talented people in LA that sometimes you get to run into them in gigs. Like, oh shit, I know you. I've seen you around, and
because that's one thing I've never seen, or I'll always see in California too. There's a lot of people there. Like I've always said to him that I think that this area is getting big as far as work wise. A lot of work is coming out of this area, and I kind of see it a lot like I see in California. There's a lot of groups, a lot of work and stuff like that. So it's definitely you're getting like a big area full of a lot of different work, different musicians coming in and putting together groups and stuff like that. So you get to meet all these people that really it would be your first time playing with them. Or like older dudes, we get like older dudes that we just kind of hear about, and they're like, oh, we know this dad, stuff like that. And you get surprised by some of these musicians, how good they are. You also get like the mean musicians. You get people that you don't really like. I think that's everywhere.
I know.
But I know for sure from what I've seen
out there.
From what I've seen in LA, it's a different scene obviously than here. But it's something I'd maybe want to experience one day. Go out there and just see what it's like. But I know it's different for sure than over here. And like the repertoire too. Like we've talked about that too. Like I wonder what the repertoire is like over there and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, it's there's different. I think when you see where the people are from, the clients, you're kind of like, oh damn, if they're like tierra caliente people, you're like,
oh yeah, we have that
or like it's everybody has their own colony of repertoire.
Right, exactly. Yeah, cool. So right now that you're what's next for you as far as going up? What's the next thing for Vargas that's coming up?
Well, we have some cool stuff coming up. This month has been kind of chill, so I've really enjoyed being home.
Exactly.
These really hot days, but but we have a couple small things coming up this next month. September's supposed to be pretty busy. Don't remember exactly all the places we're going, but we're basically getting ready for October, which we're going to be out of the country. We're going to be in Spain.
Wow!
So that should be pretty exciting.
Yeah. You've been there before? Or?
I went before on the Luis Miguel tour.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be kind of cool to just go and have our own thing,
Instead
that'll be a cool experience to actually have people come out to watch us.
Was that the first time you played with Luis Miguel? Or because I know Sol has
I did it a little before when they did the other tour with Sol. I went to a couple of concerts, but it was just here in LA. I didn't get to actually travel with that one, but I did a few shows here.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
How was that? How is it? Do you ever get to interact with Luis Miguel at all?
A little bit. There was a few times where we got to, be around him. We did this. There was just one night where we played Mañanitas for him as he was getting there. So we got to kind of see him for a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like just small stuff, but usually he just he's just in and out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he a tall guy?
I don't know. I never.
Is he tall?
He looks small.
It's about, I would say, like what? I'm thinking like 5'9", 5'10", 5'9".
Oh, so you're taller. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I thought like he was like really tall. I'd be scared, honestly. I'd just be scared. But no, that's good. Well, I'm glad that you get the chance to go to España, and play with Mariachi Vargas and go out there. Because I mean, if you're saying you've been there before, you've kind of seen the crowd over there. How's the crowd over there in Spain?
I can't really know because it's the Luis Miguel crowd.
That's true. That's true.
They're a loud, rowdy crowd. So yeah, I can't say it'll be the same for us.
Right. Exactly.
But hopefully it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wish you well on your travels, and I wish you well on this journey that you're on with Mariachi Vargas. I think it's really cool because, like I said, you grew up like a lot of students and people that are learning mariachi right now. Right. Here in the United States, and you're kind of opening up that door for the opportunity for maybe people, in the future, whenever there's a 7th, 8th,
absolutely, ninth generation. That would be the best. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of people in general can kind of take something a little bit from your story and kind of use that for their own, So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool to hear your story. I mean,
because thanks a lot, man.
Usually we're harmonia players, so we talk to like Chewy and Tony and all of them.
Yeah.
And you're a violinist, so like we saw you, but we never really talked to you, So it's pretty cool getting to know you.
Oh man, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me on too. I mean, I like I said, I always enjoy hearing your stories. It's a good time, man. So it was fun.
I appreciate the listens, man, or at least like that, who we were, So when I saw you at the concert, I was like, oh, I know you, because I mean, I'll get like every once in a while a follower, and I'm like, yeah, I know this person, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was cool, But I appreciate the fact that you did this. I know that we've had some technical difficulties, but you stuck through it, sure. And hopefully, and I tell this to all the guests, you guys are welcome to come back again. Like, if you guys ever want to do this. And hopefully, we can see each other in person one day again. Maybe at another concert or something.
I'll go to the next one for sure.
Oh, when I see that, man. It should be fun. But like I said, appreciate you coming out here and telling us your story, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Yeah, for sure. You want to say hi to my wife because she's probably over here like drooling. Yeah, you want to say hi?
Hola.
She even put on makeup. What? You don't walk in like that.
she was waiting for it. She was like right out.
She ran out the door. Oh, okay. Well, yes, we're gonna say bye. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you being out here. We'll keep in touch, hopefully, and then that way you can come back.
Yeah, man, for sure. Anytime. Yeah, I'll be.
All right.
Yeah, I would love it,
man.
Robert, thank you.
Okay, guys. All right.
This has been episode 93. Come back, like, subscribe, everything. Just keep watching the podcast. That's all we can say. Later, guys.
All right, guys.
All right, we'll see you. Have a good night.
All right. You too. Good night.